the Dapple Dualies. Recently, I went on a long-winded rant about how the Dapple Dualies suffered from a major flaw in Splatoon 3, namely that they had no way to deal with any opponent that was outside the range of the main weapon. Squid Beacons and Tacticooler are a solid support kit that can be very helpful in a team setting, but they're of little use on a weapon that's made for getting in the enemy's face and engaging them in battle. If you have no way to approach a weapon that outranges you, and the set of weapons that outrange you contains nearly every weapon in the game, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage just by using the weapon at all, and who the heck wants to do that? In response, the people rose up and voiced their grievances, demanding that the Dapple Dualies receive a kit that could deal with weapons at any range. Naturally, Nintendo did what it does best and ignored... Wait a minute, did they actually announce a new old Dapple Dualie kit? Yes they did. As part of the chill season, the Dapple Dualies Nouveau have returned from Splatoon 2, and this time they will feature the Torpedo subweapon and Reefslider special, both of which can deliver damage beyond the range of the main weapon. Problem solved, right? Well, sort of. Let's talk about it. Let's start with the good news, which is that we've got some intriguing new toys to play around with on this kit. The Reefslider is essentially the replacement for the Baller from Splatoon 2. The user sits upon an explosive pool float and zips along in a straight line until you reach the end of the rails or the rider presses ZR, at which point the float detonates and disintegrates every opponent within a small radius. It's a decent special that provides both attacking and movement capabilities, letting you cover ground at a brisk clip and make mincemeat of anyone that's too close at the end of the ride. The Torpedo is a homing missile that locks on to the nearest target when thrown and makes a beeline for their position. Okay, so maybe it's more of a leisurely stroll. It can be shot down before impact, it doesn't have the one-hit kill power of a splat or suction bomb, and it's been nerfed a little bit since Splatoon 2, but it can be thrown to reach opponents outside the range of the Dapple Dualies. In particular, it can be thrown in such a way to approach the enemy at a different or awkward angle, potentially distracting them and creating an opening for you to move in and finish them with a main weapon. In other words, anyone who engages the Dapple Dualies Nouveau now has to be wary of shooting down torpedoes coming from different angles, and must also be prepared to vacate the area the moment the inflatable dolphin appears. This is a clear upgrade from the vanilla Dapple Dualies, as it positions the weapon as an unquestioned slayer and gives you some actual options when facing a distant opponent. Now for the bad news. Clear upgrade and actually effective are two very different things. When the moment arrives, will the Dapple Dualies Nouveau really be useful in a fight? The answer is complicated, for 3 reasons. 1. As a frequent user of the Undercover Umbrella, I know firsthand that the Reefslider can be a tricky special to confirm kills with. With a clearly defined, clearly visible path, and an explosion radius that feels surprisingly small, it's pretty easy for opponents to avoid you as you dash in, and with few invincibility frames and lots of end lag, you're usually a sitting duck for anyone you didn't manage to KO with the explosion. The Undercover Umbrella at least has a shield that can help you get out of a Reefslider misfire alive, but all the Dapple Dualies can do are swim or roll for their life, and if the enemy isn't in range of your weapon, which is a good bet if they evaded the explosion, you're probably toast. Number 2. Torpedoes can be a risk-free way to engage and frustrate a faraway enemy, but as I said, it can be shot down before impact, and it doesn't have the one-hit kill power of a splat or suction bomb. So it can't be your only move when taking on a distant opponent. By themselves, torpedoes are pretty easy to neutralize, so to maximize their effectiveness, you'll want to combo them with something else, whether it be your own main or special weapon, or the weapons of one of your teammates. Number 3. The Dapple Dualies have one major blind spot, and it's not a weapon, map, or mode. It's geometry, specifically the Z-axis. If you and your opponent are on level ground, every tool in your toolkit is available. You can roll over with the main weapon, you can toss over a torpedo, or you can try to run them down with a Reefslider. If the enemy is perched on a high ledge above you, your options become a bit more limited. Reefslider can damage opponents directly above you on a grate, but if the opponent is perched on a high sniping point with no direct path to get there, you're out of luck. And it doesn't take much of a wall to block the Reefslider explosion. In this scenario, the special is only useful as a movement option. For example, crossing the grates onto the opposing platform in Scorch Gorge without getting sniped. Torpedoes can certainly be thrown onto a sniping point, but if you can't follow up with your main or special weapon, they'll be nothing more than a distraction. In other words, the Dapple Dualies Nouveau are a great weapon in a 2D environment, but in 3D, not so much. Now, we shouldn't minimize what we're getting here. The Dapple Dualies Nouveau is a much better slaying option than the vanilla kit, allowing it to be more self-sufficient in more situations on the front lines. However, we shouldn't oversell this new kit either. The weapon will still struggle to take on opponents with more range, and will require crisp execution and some teammate support to reach its full potential. While a Dapple Dualies kit with, say, Killer Whale 5.1 or Trizooka might have been more effective, they could potentially overshoot the mark and push the weapon into sloshing machine or splash-o-matic territory. We'll need some time to truly evaluate the power of the Dapple Dualies Nouveau, but for now, we'll have to settle for baby steps in hopes that they improve the synergy of the kit and make it more effective overall. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go wait another 3 months for my new Undercover Brella kit. Until then, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you again in a future video. So long!